All right, ladies, here we are once again looking at Passio Perpetua. We're in chapter 4 and verse 4, still on our page 8. You'll remember she's been speaking with her brother who says that he is in a position to request of God that she might learn, have a vision to understand if this is going to be perhaps a martyrdom or simply a trial to test her faith. She has done so, and she's kind of in the midst now of reporting a dream that she had. She's seen video, I have seen scala ariam, a brazen flight of stairs or ladder that's going up. It's marvelous in its size as it reaches up into heaven here, and she speaks about all these dangerous obstacles on it. And so now we come to verse 4, and I've actually written it out. In fact, I even started to fill in some of this, but then my video cut out a moment ago, so unfortunately some of that work of mine was wasted. But what I decided to do was to take here the first clause to begin with. Et erat sub ipsa scala draco cubans mirai magnitudinis. So, what we have here then is, and also we know et comes from et, erat comes from sum, et is a conjunction, erat is a verb. Erat is the imperfect active indicative third singular from sum, he, she, or it was. Now, if we look at sub ipsa scala, had to rewrite that because of a little mistake there, but we see ourselves getting an ablative feminine singular. Sub is governing the ablative, and you'll remember that ipse, ipsa, ipsud, I wrote it out right here, is that intensive pronoun, like itself or herself. You could say the very thing, something like that, the very one. So it's an intensive adjective in that way as well. It declines like ele, ela, elud. So you remember ele, ela, elud, Elias, 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 Eli, Eli, Eli. Well, it's ipse, ipsa, ipsud, ipsius, 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 ipsi, 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 and so forth. So that's how we get this ipsa scala. And so it would be like under for sub, and then the very, and then ladder. Scala, ladder, set of stairs, that kind of thing. In fact, you can remember this because we have this phrase, scale a wall, right? If you were to scale a wall or scale a tree, whatever helps you to scale it, that is your scala. And now we get draco. Now the draco, you'll even see, is a more rare occurring word, so it's draco, draconis. The genitive form shows you that actually dracon is the root. Is comes off, and that's the ending, right, for the third declension, isi, And so it comes from draco, and this has now shown us that it is a nominative masculine singular, and it is a noun, dragon. So she actually delayed announcing the dragon and made erat started off there, almost to say like, and there it was, under the very ladder, a dragon. So we might simply say, and a dragon was under that very ladder. But nevertheless, this was a dramatic and poetic way for her to do it in the Latin. Now, cubans is from cubo. You'll notice this also occurs more rarely. It has the number 1 there to signal it's a standard first conjugation. So it's cubo, cubare, cubavi, cubatum, to lie down, recline, or sleep, right? So cubans, we see the A connecting vowel, then the N, T plus the ending, which has now condensed and become the NS unique ending there for the present active participle nominative masculine singular. I put VA right here because this is a verbal adjective. It is a participle. Now I know it's masculine simply from the context. It's a perfect match to draco. It is a dragon lying down. Do you see? A dragon lying down. Then we get mirai magnitudinis. Magnitudinis. Now, you've learned this word already, actually. We just saw it in the previous verse, in the third verse that you had for homework. But magnitudo, magnitudinis, feminine. That is a feminine noun. So I write magnitudo here. Do you see why? That is why we get this feminine form for mirai. Mirai. Because it is matching. It is from miras, mira, mirum. It is an adjective, and it also is the genitive feminine singular to match the genitive feminine singular of size right there. So, wondrous, of size, or in other words, of wondrous size. So a dragon lying down of wondrous size, qui, Oh, perfect. It's coming together, isn't it? Do you see how here we get our relative pronoun? It's in the nominative feminine singular form, and she's just further describing that masculine noun entity in this case, which is the dragon. So who? A dragon of great size lying down. Who? Now, this part gets a little interesting here, ladies. It's actually in a traditional kind of pattern for the Latin word order. Who, now ascendentibus, right? To those ascending, insidias, traps, praestabat, he was showing or he was performing, okay? So what's actually going to happen is we're going to get the dative object first. It is from ascendo, so this would be the indirect object. Now, interestingly, this is a verbal adjective. It is a present active participle, dative or ablative, but I'll just put the D because I can see from the context. And then we'll go masculine plural. And it is ascending, but we actually really need to take this as a substantive, right? So to those ascending, it's a plural in its nature. So it's kind of like to those ascending, or to the ascending ones. To those ascending, to the ascending ones. So we have to ascending. There's no noun in place in the dative plural. So we supply the noun from the gender of the participle, and that makes it a substantive participle. Let me even go ahead and write just for our memory there, substantive in the classification. Insidias, then, that is the direct object. So in fact, maybe I'll put IO right here for that one, and then DO right here to classify it. Direct object. Insidias is like traps. Let me come all the way back here. It is from insidia. It is a noun. This is the accusative feminine plural, traps, and this is from presto. Kind of like when you say presto, it has to do with showing something. Praestabat is the imperfect active indicative, third singular. He was performing or showing in that way. This has to do with the idea that it's habitual. It's the normal pattern. He is showing, he's performing this all the time. That's what he's doing. And then, of course, et is a conjunction and or also. So, and what is he doing? Exterebat. Exterebat. Now, it actually does appear here in your running vocabulary, extereo, exterera, exterui. You actually already do know tereo, terera, terui, to be afraid. So exterero is when you are actually frightening someone else. So extereo is your verb here, an imperfect active indicative third singular to match praestabat. So, and he was terrifying or striking with terror. And now, ne ascenderent. This is a special construction that will happen a lot with the subjunctive. Ne, we have right here, is an important conjunction, subordinating conjunction. It's working with ascendo, ascendera. I think you do not have that one. Yeah, you don't actually have that one in the vocabulary here because it's one of her core and it's a more common verb in Latin. Ascendo, ascendera, ascensi, ascensum is how that one classifies. And so it's ascenderent. Do you see how it is simply the infinitive form? Ascendo, ascendera. So we could think ascendant or ascendebant or something like that, but then how did the R get there? The R got there because this is in fact the infinitive form plus an ending. And you might remember, what is it that takes the infinitive form plus the ending? It is the imperfect active subjunctive. And the ending that was on there was third plural, so it's they might or would ascend or go up. I'll even let that kind of bleed over onto this line. Go up, and then not is what goes up here. Nay, this also shows us, ladies, how nay is really used. It introduces a kind of negative subjunctive idea. In this case, it is the result. The subjunctive is showing the result of this indicative action up here. He is showing insidios, he is showing traps, and he is terrifying that they might not ascend. And so it's showing the result of what he's doing up there. So that is how we would analyze and parse out this section. So look at your rough translation now. It's sort of, and also he sheer it was under the very ladder, a dragon lying down of wondrous size, who to the ascending ones traps he was performing or showing, and also he was terrifying, not that they might or would go up. So of course we're smoothing this out, and it would be something like, also a dragon of wondrous size was under that very ladder, who was performing traps or showing traps to the ascending ones and terrifying them that they might not go up. And that's a good smooth English translation of Passio Perpetua, Book 1, Chapter 4, Verse 4. So thanks for the work, ladies. I pray this review has been helpful for you. Pause it, start it, stop it, rewind it as many times as you need, and I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.